You are testing Facebook ads the wrong way. Full stop, bottom line, I can almost guarantee it. There are three things we need to remember here. Number one, your ads do the targeting. That's not up for debate. That's how Facebook works. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. That's how the process and the engineering team and the algorithm functions. All creative gets shown to people who want to see that creative. Your job is to make sure that the creative that people want to see is one that also brings business results. Every test that you're running should be built around targeting a specific audience for a specific business result. Whether you want to scale your spend or you want to get more efficient, what we call scaling efficiency. Each test should be built around a concept to deliver a specific business objective. The purpose of every single dynamic creative test is to produce one winning ad. Let me repeat this. Every single creative test you run in your one campaign to rule them all, single campaign to get to $1 million a year in Facebook, their entire life goal is to produce one single post ID that you can extract and put into your winning environment to potentially be a control element and ultimately allow you to scale either spend or efficiency. If your dynamic creative allows you to get close to an end result that is desirable, you can extract a winner that'll be better than the net average. If it's really far off, don't try to optimize it. Don't try to massage it. Don't try to polish that turd. You can just bail and move on to the next one. It really is just that simple. The purpose of a dynamic creative is to produce one winning ad. Your dynamic creative is far too complex. If you have 10 creatives, 5 texts, and 5 headlines, that's 250 ads. If you had a 5-figure daily budget to work through those ads, it would still take weeks for you to be able to get enough statistical significance optimizing your way through to understand the best variation of all of those choices that'll fundamentally cripple your business from ever being able to be successful. Let's limit the total build to less than 20 total possible combinations. Maybe 2 creative or 3, maybe 2 headline and 2 primary text. That way, all of your decisions to optimize are binary and you can get to an answer extremely quick. If it's not good enough, get rid of it. If it is, move forward. It's that simple. You are testing too many things at once. In our single campaign for creative testing that ultimately we can spend $1 million a year on with CBO and dynamic creative tests in a fairly simple and automated way that is extremely easy to do, is it really worth it to try to test 5 things at once? Can you afford to get 5 ad sets out of learning? Can that happen quickly? Is taking 2.5 or 3 times as long to get to a winning ad good for you? Can you really afford to wait on success? And when you do find something that you're happy with, is it good that it took you longer, cost you more, and you have lower confidence in that outcome being something that you can truly rely on? The honest truth to all of those answers is no. You're testing too many things at once. If you're running dynamic creatives, the most important thing is to extract the one winning combination of elements within that dynamic creative. Now, there's a lot of people that'll tell you that that's what you should be doing, but let's actually get down to how to extract a post ID from a dynamic creative. It's a simple 2-step process. Number 1, preview that ad. Go to Facebook post with comments. This will show all of the variations in the order of Facebook's preference based on the end user experience. Second, click on the timestamp of the post that you want to use. The URL will change, and the last string of that URL is a set of digits. That's your post ID. Maybe for extra credit, you go back and validate that that post ID also matches the results that you want. But it really is just that simple. When you're running a creative test, probably the most commonly asked question is, how do I know this is the best ad? Let me help you answer that in a very simple sentence. You don't. But spend is a meritocracy. And Facebook gives you a list when you preview Facebook's post with comments inside of any dynamic creative of the highest merit ads in order. So when you extract those post IDs, what you're doing is you're letting Facebook tell you what it is they think they want end users to see based off of end users' experience. And your job is to ultimately validate that choice against your own performance when you look at where the spend goes. If it fails, remove a high spend element from that DCT and try it one more time. If it doesn't work then, get rid of it and move on to the next idea. But the honest truth is you don't know that it's a winner. That's just something you're going to have to test and a truth you're going to have to accept. Yeah, you only need one campaign to get to $1 million a year on Facebook. Full stop, bottom line. I do it with almost every one of my clients, and this is at the core of what I teach inside the Facebook Ads MBA program. So let me break this down. Yes, you only need one campaign, and yep, you're going to have 1 to maybe 3 dynamic creatives running at any given time within that campaign. You're going to have one other ad set where the ads that have won from those dynamic creatives, where you've extracted the post ID, those ads are going to live in another ad set that's effectively your winners. And when you find new winners, you replace the worst option of that available winner's ad set. Basically, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So if you replace the weakest link with the next new shining star, your chance of continuing to improve every week is extremely high. This is one campaign on CBO, all ad sets, target broad with dynamic creative. Every single ad set that you run inside of testing will be targeting broad. Bottom line, there is not a factual argument based on any empirical data that is able to compete with that statement. But what about lookalikes and mid-funnel and bottom funnel and interest and ABO? All of that is a liability. The system of having one campaign with every ad set targeting broad ultimately bring you to a point where you can spend $1 million a year easy on Facebook ads, scaling your spend and efficiencies built off of 3 things. Number 1, we're prioritizing the end user experience with our creatives. Number 2, all of our investment is being focused on the best performing ads. And number 3, more data in fewer places equals a smarter machine. Ultimately, the further and further you get away from having a simple machine that's really smart to prioritize the end experience, the further and further away you're going to get from success. So how do you scale a Facebook campaign? We're going to dive into this. And remember, we're building this off of the one campaign built around dynamic creatives and CBO targeting broad with one winning ad set of all the best post IDs extracted from those, because that is the number one most fundamental way of building a Facebook campaign that is stable, scalable, and will help you win. I'm using this for all of my clients, and this is at the core of what I teach inside the Facebook Ads MBA program, and all of my students are seeing massive success because of it. But let's break down the 3 things you need to know. Number 1, we're going to reduce our CPA every single time we run a test because we're going to remove our worst ad and put in something new. And as it gets spent, our average cost comes down. Number 2, our CPMs are going to come down because we're betting better and better ads into the system, so our end users are having a better and better experience with us. And number 3, when we get a better margin because of all that, we can increase our spend. The only things we ever touch is we're extracting post IDs, we're turning off DCTs, and we're adjusting our budget as needed.